in ancient times, they used to say something like the elements are earth, wind, air, water, whatever they said. These kind of broad things we know today. And now we look at it and say, well, it's not, air, it's, 79% nitrogen, blah, blah, 15% oxygen, whatever the components are. And we look at this and suspect that we understand it better. But this is a reductionist view of air. This is taking air and breaking it down into smaller components. But what if air was already a reductionist view of the thing before it that people used to know? They kind of come up with this idea of air, but just as we now think we're clever for calling it this breakdown of oxygen and the different elements, or whatever science would say about what air is, there used to be, whenever people decided that there's air we're taking in, they thought they were clever at the time for assigning kind of the verbiage of air to what they were experiencing. So what I'm saying is, a reductionist view of air as being these elements or whatever is one direction from air, 1 degree of understanding different from air, but it's this direction only. It's reductionist only. There is another view of explaining what you're taking in when we do this thing, that it's broader than air. It's more than just air. Air is limited to an assumption of kind of 3D material reality. This exchange of air is the most subtle of the material forms, solid, liquid, gas, right? But that's limited to matter. We're assuming that we're only doing a material exchange. That's the assumption with this. We're taking in air or oxygen or whatever. But if there is more to existence than 3D earthly material matter, then you need to look the other way, the other direction from air. Reductionist view that we're kind of obsessed with, reductionist world we're obsessed with now, the other direction from that. Where you could more broadly say you're taking in the universe. You're exchanging in that which is not you into you, is probably a fair way to say it. That which is not you, of this subtle form that seems pervasive. That's a less reduced version of saying what we're doing when we breathe. It may not be right, but it's less reduced. And that's what you have to find, is what's the other side of that. Not taking in air, but what's the less reductionist way to see what that exchange is. And that's the insight. We're so obsessed with, I don't know if it's Aristotle or whoever kind of created this idea of let's learn from reduction, which is a great way to learn, but it's equally valid to learn the other direction.